Ladies and gentlemen, rejection can be one of the deepest wounds a person experiences. It hits differently. It doesn't just say you failed. It whispers you're not enough. It comes in many forms. A parent who walks away, a friend who turns the back, a partner who gives up, a community that makes you feel invisible. Sometimes it's not even loud or obvious. Sometimes it's silent, subtle, and slow. And yet it leaves you questioning your worth in the quiet places of your soul. And in those moments you wonder if something's wrong with you. You wonder if you'll ever be chosen, ever be accepted, ever be seen the way you hope to be. There are people who will never understand your heart. There are places you were never meant to stay. And while it hurts to be pushed away, there's something powerful in realizing that rejection didn't destroy you. It revealed you. It showed you what's real. It peeled off the layers of needing to be liked and left you with something far greater. The knowledge that you're still standing, still breathing, and still worthy even without their approval. You're not defined by who walked away. You're defined by the one who never left. And while people's opinions shift with seasons, God's view of you has never changed. He still sees the masterpiece beneath the mess. He still sees the calling, even when all you see is the pain. And he is in the business of redeeming every piece of your story. Not just the polished parts, but especially the ones you'd rather hide. Sometimes the greatest gift God gives is the gift of being released. Because if certain people had stayed, you might have settled. If that door hadn't shut, you might have stayed small. But rejection forced you to grow. It pushed you into places you never thought you'd go. It made room for new voices, new visions, and new victories. It broke something in you, but it also made space for something stronger to be built. God has a way of using the very thing that hurt you to set you up for healing. He never wastes rejection. What others overlook, he picks up. What others discard, he redeems. He doesn't just restore what you lost. He reveals what you never knew you had. The gifts, the strength, the resilience that were buried beneath layers of disappointment begin to rise when he steps in. His acceptance doesn't require performance. His love doesn't come with conditions. He doesn't need you to earn your worth. He created you with it. Just because people reject you doesn't mean God has abandoned you. In fact, sometimes rejection is the very door that leads you into divine redirection. What felt like a closed door was actually God's way of pulling you out of something that couldn't carry your purpose. That relationship that ended, that opportunity that slipped away, that circle that no longer invited you in. None of those things define you. And sometimes it's only in losing what you thought you needed that you find what your soul truly needs. Exactly. It's hard not to internalize rejection. It can echo in your thoughts long after the people are gone. You start carrying around the weight of what someone else didn't see in you. You begin to shrink yourself down so you're not too much or not enough. You try to change to fit what they wanted, thinking maybe then you will be worthy. But the truth is, you were never created to find your value in the approval of people. That's a shaky place to stand because people are fragile and inconsistent. One moment they cheer you on and the next they disappear without explanation. Some pain is loud and obvious. It happens out in the open where everyone can see it. People notice when you fall. They hear the gossip, watch the breakup, witness the failure. They see you cry, hear the silence after the storm, and sometimes instead of helping, they just stare. There's a unique kind of heartbreak that comes when your pain is public. It's not just the hurt, it's the humiliation. It's the shame of being seen when you're at your lowest, when you have no words to defend yourself and no strength to pretend you are okay. You don't need to hide your scars. They are proof you survived. You don't need to be ashamed of the process. There's power in your vulnerability. There's something unshakable about someone who's walked through fire and still chooses to love, still chooses to forgive, still chooses to hope. And when you get back up, not if but when, it will be a testimony, not just to you, but to everyone watching. Not to prove them wrong, but to prove that God is right, right about you, right about your value, right about your purpose. In this life, we will all experience challenges, some of them public, some of them private. But the beauty of our stories lies not in how we fall, but in how we rise. Today, I want to share with you the power of resilience, the strength of transformation, and the promise that no matter how many times life knocks you down, you have the power to rise again, stronger than before. Sometimes people look at broken things and throw them away, but not God. He sees what's broken and says, that's where I'll begin. He doesn't turn away from your mess. He steps into it, not to shame you or remind you of what you lost, but to remind you of what's still possible. Because in God's hands, broken pieces become building blocks. Your weakness becomes His strength. And the pain that nearly destroyed you becomes the very... When you're in the middle of that brokenness, it's hard to see anything clearly. You question everything, your purpose, your identity, your worth. It's like walking through fog with no idea where the road leads. But even when you can't feel it, you are not alone in that darkness. Sometimes we don't realize God is all we need until He's all we have. And when everything else falls away, what remains is the foundation of grace He's been building under you the whole time. People might remember your fall, but God will use your rise to rewrite the narrative. The same people who saw you hurting will one day see you standing, not because you pulled yourself up by sheer force, but because grace lifted you from the ashes. There's nothing too shattered for Him to restore. Not a heart, not a future, not even a soul that's lost its way. What was meant to destroy you may become the very thing God uses to elevate you. Your bravado. There's something strange about pain. It has a way of stripping you down to what really matters. The masks fall off, the noise fades, and what's left is the real you, the one God has always seen. The world may see brokenness as a weakness, but in God's kingdom is the beginning of transformation. It's the place where pride dies and humility is born, where pretending ends and healing begins. And though the process hurts, it also prepares you for something greater than what you lost. We've all heard stories of athletes, entrepreneurs, and leaders who faced incredible setbacks, some public, some private, but came back stronger than before. The thing that makes their story so powerful is not just that they overcame, but that they did so with a new sense of purpose, with a renewed vision, and with a deeper strength than before. The comeback isn't just about returning to where you were. It's about transforming what seemed like a defeat into a launching pad for greater success. You don't have to hide the cracks. You don't have to pretend you're okay when you're not. Healing doesn't begin with pretending. It begins with honesty. It begins when you say, God, I'm not strong enough on my own. That kind of surrender isn't weakness. It's courage. The kind of courage that invites divine strength to step in where yours runs out. And as He begins to heal you piece by piece, you'll notice something beautiful. The scars don't disappear, but they become reminders, not of what broke you, but of who rebuilt you. Your brokenness doesn't disqualify you. It doesn't cancel your calling or erase your purpose. If anything, it makes you more qualified because now you understand pain and you carry compassion. You've walked through the fire and you didn't come out empty. You came out refined, stronger, softer, deeper. You now have something real to offer others who are hurting. Not just words, but proof. Proof that you can break and still rise, that you can lose and still love, that you can hurt and still hope. Even when you don't see it yet, something is being formed in the rubble, something sacred, something strong. It doesn't always come with speed, but it always comes with purpose, because brokenness is not a life sentence, it's a life chapter. And it won't be the last one. So when you remember the sting of rejection, remember this too. It didn't end you, it redirected you. And what people rejected, God is redeeming in ways you couldn't imagine yet. There are people who will never understand your heart. There are places you were never meant to stay. And while it hurts to be pushed away, there's something powerful in realizing that rejection didn't destroy you. It revealed you. It showed you what's real. It peeled off the layers of needing to be liked and left you with something far greater. The knowledge that you're still standing, still breathing, and still worthy even without their approval. Not everything will make sense right away. Not everyone will apologize. But what matters most is that healing will come. And when it does, it won't be hidden. Your strength will speak louder than their assumptions. Your peace will shine brighter than the pain. And your restoration will be seen not to feed your ego, but to feed someone else's faith. Because if they saw you fall and saw you rise, then maybe, just maybe, they'll believe they can rise too. You try to hold your head high, but inside you're crumbling. You try to smile for the people watching, but your soul is tired of acting strong. And what makes it harder is that some people don't just watch. You feel like they're rooting for your downfall. Some disappear when the lights go out. Some talk about you like your pain is entertainment. It feels unfair. It feels cruel. And it feels so exposed. But even in moments like that, there's something deeper happening. What others see as your breaking point might actually be the very stage where God plans to reveal His grace. Because the same people who saw you fall will be the ones to witness you rise. The ones who watched you weep will one day see you walk in joy. The ones who judged you in your darkest valley will see you shine on the mountaintop, not because you fought your way out alone, but because God never left your side. There's a reason your pain was seen by others. It's because your healing will be too. Your story isn't just about what you went through, it's about what God is going to do with it. He doesn't just restore you quietly, He prepares a table in the presence of those who doubted you, left you, or even betrayed you. Public pain doesn't disqualify you. It sets the stage for public restoration. The ones who saw you break down will see you built up. The ones who heard the lies will hear the truth. The ones who laughed when you fell will stand silent when they watch you stand strong. And you won't need revenge. You won't need to clap back. You'll walk in peace. Not because they changed, but because you did. Because restoration isn't about erasing what happened. It's about rising with grace in spite of it. But even in moments like that, there's something deeper happening. What others see as your breaking point might actually be the very stage where God plans to reveal His grace. Because the same people who saw you fall will be the ones to witness you rise. The ones who watched you weep will one day see you walk in joy. The ones who judged you in your darkest valley will see you shine on the mountaintop, not because you fought your way out alone, but because God never left your side. There's something unshakable about a person who has walked through darkness and still chooses to shine, not because life has been perfect, but because they refuse to let the darkness define them. Every tear, every scar, every failure and comeback, those pieces matter. They are not just chapters in your life. They are messages. Messages that someone else needs to hear. Everyone has a story, but not everyone realizes the power of it. Too often, people believe that their past disqualifies them from making a difference. They think their mistakes, their pain, or the things they've been through make them less worthy to speak up, to lead, or to be seen. But the truth is, the very things you're tempted to hide are often the very things that hold the most power. Sometimes we want God to fix everything quietly behind closed doors so no one sees the struggle. But often He chooses to heal us right in the same places we were hurt, right in front of the people who thought we were finished. Because it's not just about your comeback, it's about His glory. Your restoration becomes a message. Your life becomes evidence that even the worst moments can be redeemed. And the very spotlight that once exposed your pain will one day shine on your purpose. The ones who saw you break down will see you built up. The ones who heard the lies will hear the truth. The ones who laughed when you fell will stand silent when they watch you stand strong. And you won't need revenge. You won't need to clap back. You'll walk in peace. Not because they changed, but because you did. Because restoration isn't about erasing what happened. It's about rising with grace in spite of it. There's a reason your pain was seen by others. It's because your healing will be too. Your story isn't just about what you went through. It's about what God is going to do with it. He doesn't just restore you quietly. He prepares a table in the presence of those who doubted you, left you, or even betrayed you. Public pain doesn't disqualify you. It sets the stage for public restoration. Sometimes we think we need a platform, a microphone, or a stage to make a difference. But the most powerful stories are often shared in quiet conversations, in broken moments, in unexpected places. When you open up about what you've overcome, it gives someone else permission to believe they can overcome too. It tells them they're not alone. It tells them that what they're feeling has been felt by someone who made it through. Sometimes when we face setbacks, we think of them as failures, moments where we didn't measure up, where we weren't good enough. But failure is not a permanent label. Failure is a lesson, and a lesson is a tool. Every setback teaches you something valuable about who you are, who you can become, and what's truly important. If you let it, a setback becomes an opportunity for growth. You discover new strengths, build new skills, and develop a resilience you didn't know you had. And the strength you gain in the struggle is what will make your comeback so much greater. There's something about being knocked down that humbles you. It strips away the pride, the self-reliance, and the illusions of control. It forces you to lean into something greater than yourself. It forces you to reach out for help, to ask for grace, and to trust that there is something more beyond the struggle. And when you get back up, you're not the same person who fell. You're stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever before. It's easy to look at someone's success and think that it came easily, that it was all smooth sailing, but the truth is, success is rarely linear. It's full of twists, turns, and roadblocks. It's not about avoiding the setbacks. It's about learning how to navigate them and using them as stepping stones. The greatest success stories aren't the ones without obstacles. They're the ones where the individual faced setbacks, found strength in the struggle, and pushed through the pain to achieve something even greater. Your comeback doesn't have to look like anyone else's. It doesn't have to be grand or flashy. Sometimes the greatest comebacks are quiet, internal victories. They are the moments when you decide to get up after falling, to forgive after being hurt, to try again after failing. Every time you choose to rise, you're making a statement that you won't be defined by the setback. You will rise. You will persevere, and you will come back stronger than before. The world might have counted you out after your setback. People might have doubted you, questioned your ability, or even turned their backs. But the beauty of a comeback is that it doesn't need anyone's approval to happen. Your comeback is between you and your faith, between you and your belief that something greater is coming. It's not about proving anyone wrong. It's about proving to yourself that you are stronger than the setback that tried to take you down. What you've been through has shaped you in ways you may not even recognize yet. The pain taught you empathy. The loss taught you what really matters. The setbacks taught you resilience. And the healing taught you hope. Those are things no one can take from you. They are treasures hidden in the trials. You never know who's watching you live out your story. Maybe it's a young person who feels like giving up. Maybe it's a friend silently struggling with anxiety. Maybe it's someone who smiles on the outside but is fighting a war on the inside. Your story might be the spark that lights a path forward for them, not because you have all the answers, but because you've been where they are and made it through. Some people won't understand your journey. They might not know what it took for you to get out of bed this morning, to show up, to keep believing. That's okay. Your story isn't for everyone. It's for someone. And when the right person hears it, it will matter more than you could imagine. It will shift something inside them. It will plant a seed of courage, of faith, of healing. There's more strength in your story than you know. You may not feel like it yet, but one day you'll look back and realize how far you've come. And when you do, don't keep it to yourself. Share it, speak it. Let someone else know that it's okay to struggle and still have purpose, that it's okay to fall and still rise. Because when you speak from a place of truth, pain turns into power and your story becomes a light for someone else's darkness. Don't let shame silence you. Don't let fear convince you that your story is too messy, too small, or too late to matter. The enemy of your soul would love nothing more than for you to stay quiet, to stay hidden, to keep thinking your pain was pointless. But God doesn't waste a single moment. Every broken season, every silent prayer, every unanswered question, it's all being woven into something meaningful and powerful. You may not think your journey is impressive, but someone else is waiting for the exact story you carry. They don't need a hero. They need honesty. They need real. They need to hear from someone who didn't have it all together, but found strength anyway. They don't need a perfect past. They need proof that survival is possible. You don't need to have a neat ending tied up in a bow. You don't have to wait until everything's fixed. Your story is powerful because you're still walking, still healing, still trusting. Your scars are not signs of weakness. They are signs that you've survived battles others might not see. And every time you choose to be honest about where you've been, you give someone else the strength to keep going. There are moments in life when it feels like everything is crashing down. The plans you've worked so hard for suddenly crumble. The relationships you thought were stable break, and dreams that once seemed within reach slip through your fingers. In those moments, it's easy to believe that the setback is final, that the loss, the failure, the heartbreak defines you. It feels like a permanent mark, a heavy weight that will follow you forever. But what if I told you that your setback isn't the end of your story? What if the very thing that knocked you down is the fuel for your greatest comeback? It's hard to see it in the midst of the pain, but the truth is, setbacks are not the end. They are simply part of the journey. They are the moments that set the stage for a greater victory, a more powerful rise, a comeback that is often greater than the setback itself. When life knocks you down, it can feel like the hardest thing to do is get back up. It feels exhausting, discouraging, and sometimes even impossible. But it's in those moments when you have nothing left but the will to keep going that something remarkable happens. You start to realize that your strength isn't defined by how you fall, it's defined by how you rise, and your comeback is more powerful than you could have imagined. And when you rise, you won't just rise to the same place you were before, you will rise to something greater. The comeback will always be greater than the setback because it's the victory that's been forged in the fire of challenge. You don't come back the same person. You come back transformed, empowered, and ready to face whatever comes next with courage and grace. So don't ever let a setback convince you that you are finished. Your story is still being written. And I promise you, the comeback is always greater than the setback. It will be bigger, brighter, and more beautiful than you could have ever imagined. Because the greatest comebacks are the ones that come from a heart that refuses to give up. Thank you for letting me share this moment with you. May you carry the strength of your own comeback in your heart, knowing that no matter how many times you fall, there will always be a rise waiting for you. You are not alone on this journey. You are loved, you are worthy, and your greatest days are ahead of you. Thank you.